Hello and welcome to an Eternal Masters draft with Brandon. This is actually my first Eternal Masters draft, so we'll see how it goes. Eric isn't with me today, but that can't stop me from jumping in and having a little fun with this awesome new format. So this is a bit of a trip. Just looking at my first pack, there's a lot of different things here, a lot of different directions to go. If I was to guess, what the strongest card, like the just the safest pick, looking at it, I'd probably go with Firebolt. Um, just some cheap early interaction that can be a two for one, given enough time and mana. Besides that, I really like Blood Artist. I think that card's really strong. Um, I'm not really into picking a double color card off the bat. Llanowar Elves is also good. But I think we're going to go with the Firebolt here and see where that leads us. Okay, well, Firebolt is probably going to lead us into one of the strongest cards in the format, and that's Chain Lightning. See that there's another Firebolt here, and that's great. It's definitely not going to come around, but Shardless Agent is a great card. Again, it's two colors, and one thing I don't like about it is that if I'm playing blue-green, I tend to want to play cards like Counterspell, and it can hit those, which are a little dead. But anyways, Chain Lightning is easily the best card in this pack, and it's the one we're taking. Okay, so following up those two picks, we're looking at a couple things. Sylvan Library is actually a really strong card. I've never played with it in Limited before. I've played with it in EDH, and I'm always very happy with it, but you're guaranteed a lot more time in EDH. Kind of following up our our cheap burn picks, I'm looking at this Innocent Blood, or if we just want to be really aggressive, Fervent Cathar is not a bad pickup. Um, I think Milliken's fine too. I'm not exactly wowed by any of the blue cards here. And I think probably we're just going to go with an Innocent Blood. Maybe go for like early game burn into hopefully some late game threats. And Innocent Blood kind of fits into that by killing early creatures. Yeah, I guess I don't really have any better ideas here, so Innocent Blood it is. Let's see, let's see. Okay, there's another Blood Artist here. Maybe we could end up in the kind of like a black-red sacrifice deck. Price of Progress is not very good in Limited. Pilgrim's Eye is always a perfectly fine card. Um, yeah, not a whole lot in our colors. Probably actually looking at this Blood Artist and kind of going to try to push that direction a little bit. I like Aven Riftwatcher, but it's not really in line with what we're trying to do so far. So let's take this Blood Artist and see where that leads. Okay. Looking at our next picks, we probably don't want this Soil Druid. In fact, we're not going to pick up a black card here. I think Extract from Darkness is really strong. Um, and I think there's nothing wrong with Desperate Ravings either. Um, seen a couple Grixis colored dual lands, which can maybe push us into, like a Grixis controlling deck. And yeah, I mean, this pack doesn't really have a lot for us. It's basically going to be Desperate Ravings or Extract from Darkness. Although I guess Prismatic Lens is fine too. Maybe we'll just take the Lens because it is a fixer and it ramps, and there's really nothing wrong with it. Diminishing Return. Shuffle your hand and graveyard in your library. Exile top 10 cards, then draw 7. That is not fantastic. Night's Whisper is pretty exciting if we're going for more of a controlling deck, and I think that's what we're going to do. There's a lot of good blue coming around. Maybe, Manivore or Giant Tortoise would be a good pick here, but I like this Night's Whisper. And then we're going to see where we go from there. Twisted Abomination is a fantastic card. It's a reasonable threat on its own. The fact that it regenerates is a big deal. And if we end up in some sort of reanimator deck, it's very good too. And it just helps fix our mana a little bit. So it's easily the pickup here. Noticing that red's not super open, at least from what I'm seeing. Here, I think it's between Wake Dancer and a Havoc Demon. And I think I actually like the Havoc Demon a little more if we're going for like a late game controlling kind of thing. Kill all the creatures early. Try to power out some big stuff towards the end of the game. So far this Blood Artist is not looking good, but we can always audible from where we are into more of like a token sacrifice thing if we see that. So we have a Skulking Ghost or a Sting Scourger. 2/1 flyer or a 2/2 that bounces something. And I'm really not sure what the pick is. I've played with Sting Scourger a lot and I've always really liked it. I've never played with Skulking Ghost before. I think we're going to go with the Sting Scourger and just try to be very interactive with our opponent. Okay, so a Plague Witch, which can enable reanimator strategies, or just pick off smaller creatures if we need to. There's nothing wrong with a Duress. I actually think it's just fine to main deck a Duress, and I'd probably like to have one. Undying Rage, put in a graveyard, return it to its owner's hand, 2/2 and can't block. I think we're going to go with the Duress here. And this is not our original pack. We got that back a little while ago. So we have Milliken, Fervent Cathar. Fervent Cathar is really good if we're being a little more aggressive. Milliken's good if we're trying to power some big things out. So I think we're going to go with the Milliken. And we'll take a Pilgrim's Eye here. Yeah, I would rather have that than the Cliffs. Although here, it's interesting. I think here we'd actually rather have the Cliffs than the Desperate Ravings, to give us options later on. Pick up a Tidal Wave that we're probably not going to play, and another Night's Whisper. Okay, well, we have some good card advantage going on. And we open a Dak Faden. Card is cool. Card is very cool. Let's see what else we have. I really like it. Chain Lightning's just so good. It's just such a good card. Deep Analysis is really strong too. I'd like to play this Dak Faden. Whenever you cast a spell that targets one, we're gain control of those permanents. That's pretty cool. Well. Looking at the pack, it's definitely between these two cards. Probably the more realistic pick is Chain Lightning. The card that I would like to play more is Dak Faden. We can splash it super easily. We already have Cliffs, Lens, and Pilgrim's Eye. Man, I don't want to be a grown-up, but I think I'm going to be a grown-up and pick the Chain Lightning. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Planeswalkers are just so good. We're going to take Dak Faden. You don't get to draft a Dak Faden every day. And what else do we find? I actually really like Honden of Seeing Winds. That card's very strong. Battle Squadron is good, but not looking so great in our deck. Another Pilgrim's Eye. Pyroblast is a great sideboard card, and Worn Power Stone is really good to ramp things out. I think we're actually going to pick up this Honden as a little more card advantage and solidify ourselves in Grixis and just we're really going to push for the late game here with this deck. An Inkwell Leviathan is perfect for that, and so is a Phyrexian Jester, actually. Which one is likely to be better? Leviathan is just unstoppable once it hits the board, and I think it's reasonable to think that we'll be able to, just looking at the direction we're pushing, it looks like red is more of our splash. So I think we're going to take the Leviathan here. And see what else keeps coming. So now there's a Counterspell, which I'd love to have in my deck. Prodigal Sorcerer is very good too, And Void does something. Choose a number to destroy all artifacts and creatures, CMC equal to that number. Then target player discards all cards equal to that number. That is interesting. It's kind of a sweeper for artifacts and creatures. I think we're going to like having a counter spell a little bit more, though. And we're going to push into blue a little harder here, it seems like, because blue seems pretty open coming this way. And what else do we find? We find some stuff, nothing crazy. Got a Screeching Scob, which is pretty bad. Carrion Feeder, which is very much not for our deck. Deadbridge Shaman seems fine. The Wildfire Emissary seems okay too. But I think the Shaman's going to be easier to cast. We're clearly going to be playing black here. Yeah, this deck's shaping up a little differently than I expected, but I'm pretty excited. We have a lot of good interaction with our opponent. We have a couple ways to ramp out some of our better late game threats. We Dragonauts, you say. We Dragonauts is a 3-drop that will get +2/+0. It's a 1/3 flyer that will get 2/0 if we play any of our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, Counterspell doesn't work with it. 5, 6. Not exceptional, not bad. What else could we play out of this? A Juggernaut? Actually, Juggernaut seems really good if we're just killing all of our opponent's creatures. We'll pick up a Juggernaut here. And what do we find? Goblin Trenchers. This is an insanely powerful card that we are not going to play. Phyrexian Rager is pretty reasonable. Cephalid Sage, I'm not a huge fan of. Mindless Automaton is a 2/2 for 4 that you can discard a card to put a counter on it and remove 2 counters to draw a card. Do we want a discard outlet? Perhaps. I don't know if we're really going to be pushing for a Reanimator deck. I think the Rager is just going to be better most of the time. Torrent of Souls is exactly the card we'd like to find here, and we will take it. That is awesome. So now we can kind of afford to take more discardy type stuff if we want to go a little more Reanimatory. Let's see. We have like about 0 early game creatures. Orlin Marauder is a good aggressive creature, but it's probably not what we want. Wake of Vultures is probably going to be better for our deck. So we'll take a Wake of Vultures. And the Swiftwater Cliffs is great. We need some fixing, definitely. Another Sting Scourger is decent. Orborg Uprising is a good card, but I want to be able to cast all our spells, and we're going to need some fixing to do that. Now this Plague Witch is looking a little more interesting with a Torrent of Souls. Sengir Autocrat buys a lot of time, and it's good with like token sacrifice kind of things. We'll take the Autocrat, I guess. And pick up another Phyrexian Rager here. Sure, we'll take a Dragon Egg. Not sure we're going to play it. Cack of Fog. This deck is a little bit all over the place, but it has a lot of powerful things going on. We might even play a Mog Fanatic, who knows? So, what are we looking for here? We're looking for Baleful Strix is exactly what we're looking for, actually. Yeah, it's the perfect card. It kills something early, it cantrips. Burning Vengeance is a card, funny enough, going into this draft. If I had seen that in my first pack, I pretty much promised myself I was going to take it no matter what, because I think that card's just super good and a lot of fun to play. But we're going to take Baleful Strix here because it's perfect for our deck. Necrotal is also great, and it's definitely the pickup here. And we're going to try to snag up another dual land or two in this pack. I'd be really happy if we did that, because right now we have Lens, Pilgrim's Eye, and 2 Cliffs as our fixing. which is fine because it fixes our off color. We're definitely main black here, so we can play more swamps and less mountains and islands. Let's be realistic and make some cuts here too while we have some time. Okay. We have a brainstorm, which I'm pretty sure is the pick here. Just a little bit of card selection. I wish we had more shuffle, but we have a Pilgrim's Eye and Pilgrim's Eye. But I still think it's pretty good. Also, foil brainstorm. How can you be mad at that? I think we have enough interaction that we don't need to take like an annihilate. And yeah, brainstorm could just fix your bad draws. Yeah, I'm taking that foil brainstorm. It's happening. Alright, get out of here, Dragon Egg. And probably Blood Artist, but we'll have to see. Okay, I've got a Blood Fell Caves here. And I think that's going to be the pick. We're going to have plenty of playables. We just want to make sure that we can hit all of our cards. I wonder... So, I'm often torn with whether or not I should pick cards for value in order to continue to do more drafts. So I'm actually going to do something real quick that is a little unprofessional. And we're going to see how much heritage Druid is. Okay, it's nothing. So we will take this Bloodfell Caves for sure. Alright, sorry about that. But, you never know. A Hymn to Turok, you say? Or a Gravedigger. It's definitely going to be Gravedigger. Gravedigger is just going to do more work and be easier to cast. So that's an easy pickup here. Man, this does feel good. I really love Grixis. It's easily my favorite shard of the Alara shards. And this seems like it's going to be a pretty fun Grixis deck. We can probably cut this Blood Artist and maybe the Sting Scourger too. Ashnod's Altar, you don't do anything in our deck. I don't know if we'd play another Prismatic Lens. Urborg Uprising is reasonable, but not great. Nausea isn't bad as a sideboard card. Maybe we just take another Sting Scourger and try to keep our opponent really off balance. Yeah, there's just nothing amazing here. I guess we'll take the Urborg Uprising. I think that seems fine. This deck is all over the place. Alright, well, we have another Innocent Blood or an Extract from Darkness. And I think we're going to take the Extract. I'd like another Reanimation spell. So, we'll take an Extract and be pretty happy about it. So let's see. Probably don't need this main deck Duress. I'm not... Counterspell might be a little cute, but I like having access to one. Okay, here we go. We have another Havoc Demon or a Honden of Night's Reach. That's a pretty big game getting two Hondens out, but Night's Reach is probably the least powerful one, I'd say, just because if your opponent's out of cards, it does nothing. So we're probably looking at Pangolin or Havoc Demon here, which is pretty interesting. I think we're going to go big and try to get another Havoc Demon. Yeah, we're just going to try for that late game power. Take another Pilgrim's Eye, and our mana is going to be great now. We're not going to need a Night's Whisper. Let's see, Warden of Evocile. You make our Havoc Demons cheaper. You make our Vultures cheaper. You make our Pilgrim's Eyes cheaper. That's interesting. You're a flying threat. Is that better or worse than a Plague Witch? So we have Extract and Torrent. and Gravedigger. Maybe Plague Witch is the pickup here. And wow, we get our choice of a Swiftwater Cliffs, Silent Departure, Annihilate. So how are we killing just a big bomb on the opponent's side? We're probably not, so I'd like this Annihilate. And our mana is going to be great, I think, so. Pick up an Annihilate. Dead Bridge or Autocrat? Autocrat is just so much time. We're going to pick that up. And, man, we could have just had 1,000 Night's Whispers. Don't think we want any of these. And actually, it's kind of cool that Ashnod's Altar came back, because it actually might be reasonable with these autocrats and just all of our dirtily creatures. Okay, this is going to be a tricky deck to build, but we're going to group separately and see where we end up. Alright, so we can cut these for now, just make things a little easier to count. I like picking up this giant tortoise too, as an early blocker. So right now it's looking more like we're a black-blue deck splashing red, which is fine. I still think Firebolt, Chain Lightning, and Dak are good. Probably means we don't want the Sting Scourger. And we don't need the red side of this, right? Turn up to one target creature. Okay, so that just gives 2-0 in haste, which is actually really great with our autocrats. So we have 34 cards here, which is about 1 million too many. We can easily cut a Night's Whisper, and probably this altar. A lot of 5-drops here. I don't know if Juggernaut is a realistic card, just because we're not very aggressive, and we didn't end up with all of the removal in the world. Still like Gravedigger. The Ragers are good to smooth out our draws a little bit. Don't think we need the Shaman. 2 Pilgrim's Eye might be a bit much. But I do like them with the Brainstorm. And they do fix our mana. Maybe we don't need this Urborg Uprising. So we have Extract from Darkness, Torrent of Souls, and Gravedigger. Probably don't need the Uprising. Now, what do we have as far as card advantage goes? We have a Night's Whisper, a Honden, Gravedigger, even Phyrexian Ragers are fine. And then I thought we had one more thing. Maybe we don't. Okay. Well. Do we need 2 Sengir Autocrats? Probably not. We need to make... I'd like to play 17 lands in this deck, probably. Although 16 is probably fine, considering we have 2 eyes and some ramp. Milliken seems like it's good with our recursion. Prismatic Lens is a nice fixer. Oh, it's just tricky. Maybe we don't start the counterspell. Maybe we just side it in as we see fit. I like the Plague Witch, because we're always going to have cards in our hand to discard to it. Our top end is enormous. Wake of Vultures is a 3/1 flyer for 4 that you can regenerate, which is fine. I think we're going to want to do flying beats as it is. Maybe we don't need the Night's Whisper. As we have other ways to smooth out our draws. And I mean, we could just cut red entirely, couldn't we? And still have a pretty strong deck. Red's such a free splash, though. Maybe we only play the 1 Pilgrim's Eye. We probably don't need the Prismatic Lens. Yeah, we can just play 1 Pilgrim's Eye. Firebolt is fine. Okay, looking at 25. Need at least one more cut. Milliken lets us hit our 4s early. Tortoise blocks, Strix blocks. Plague Witch is maybe a little cute. Gives us -1/-1. Lets us discard things that we can get back. We probably just don't need 2 autocrats, realistically. And if they line up well, we can do that. Is Blood Artist looking any better? Looks like a reasonable way to finish out the game. It's really only good with the autocrats. Alright, I think we can cut one of the autocrats. Nope, I changed my mind. We're not cutting the autocrats. Okay, it's probably going to be the Milliken. Probably. Yeah. We'll just cut the Milliken, and we'll call that a deck. 16 lands I think is going to be fine, because we have a lot of... Well, we have, let's see, a Pilgrim's Eye, we have the Ragers, we have Dak. And we really need to hit high amounts of mana, so maybe not. Let's see, what's our removal? Our removal currently is Firebolt, Chain Lightning, Innocent Blood, Annihilate, Necrotal, Baleful Strix. I don't think we want to cut the Firebolt. The Brainstorm's really only good with Pilgrim's Eye, isn't it? Yeah, that's the actual reasonable one. Okay. Well, now we have room for 17 lands. And let's see... First of all, let's combine our groups and look at everything. And let's see what Magic Online says. It says 9 swamps, 2 mountains. I think we can get away with 1 mountain. 3 islands. Maybe we go 4 islands. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7 blue sources. We probably can go 8 blue sources. Cut 1 swamp. So now we have 8, 9, 10 black sources. And 5, 6, 7, 8 blue, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red. That seems good. Let's submit this deck and see how it goes. We've got a lot of options as far as sideboarding goes to maneuver around a little bit. And maybe I'm liking that counterspell a little more now. Although I don't think you can play counterspell with that few of blue sources. Okay, we're just going to submit this deck and see how it goes.